Well, good morning on a beautiful Thursday, the day, of course, before the July 4th, a Friday. I'm meteorologist Rod Hill coming to you from downtown Portland, working my shift at KGW TV this morning. And so I think the biggest headline when you look through the coming holiday weekend into the first part of next week is wild temperature swing. So, not that this is unusual, but we're still looking at really comfortable weather, not only today on this Thursday, not only on July 4th, Friday, but also Saturday and Sunday. And then we're 70s, certainly the next couple of days in Portland. And then we're looking at more widespread 90-degree heat returning, if not Monday, Tuesday of next week. So you're looking at an 850 millibar temperature air mass track. And again, the cooler weather, the blues and the greens. This is July 4th. The hotter weather, the reds, and then that kind of dark brick red color showing temperatures up into the 90s. So I'll show you those temperature trends and we'll get into that. And this is nothing new. This has been set in the forecast, as you probably realize, for quite some time at this point. All of this brought to you by the Momentous Wealth Podcast. We thank you for sponsoring my YouTube videos. You can listen on Apple Podcasts, listen on Spotify. They have a collection of different investment topics meant to educate you, not guide you toward making your own stock predictions, but meant to educate you about market behavior, et cetera, et cetera. It's the firm that I use, Momentous Wealth Management, licensed in Oregon and Washington. I have a Roth IRA set up with them, for example, which is a great financial tool. I'm sure many of you are aware. Okay, let's get you going. So I just illuminated the temperature part of the forecast, but there are some other moving parts. So this from the National Weather Service, a red flag warning or fire weather warning, same thing. This lit up area, this is for this afternoon and this evening for South Central and Southeastern Oregon. And basically the reason we've had these red flag warnings this week, all of them primarily have been in thunderstorm expected areas, and a reminder that lightning strikes can produce new fire starts. Now, we've been really lucky this week. Remember on Monday, we had a cluster of storms that came up around Medford, a whole fistful of what turned out to be small fires that for the most part, I think are contained. We've had a couple fires get larger. There was the fire that is burning in Umatilla County. I think I wrote a note on this. Yeah, just outside of Hermiston, 12 miles northeast of Hermiston, about 1,000 acres have burned as of the reports that came out last evening. There was one home, I believe, in that fire destroyed, but all of the evacuation notices have been downgraded at this point to kind of keep your eye on things and be prepared if things turn. But the forecast is pretty favorable today and tomorrow with cooler temps, not much wind in most areas. So, but there are more thunderstorms expected, and I'll get you to that part of the forecast. So let's do that right now. This is the North American 3 kilometer model. This is this afternoon, getting into the afternoon. Showers in South Central Oregon. And then watch this line kind of explode and get stronger. Now you got potential where you see the yellows thunderstorm development. This is 5 p.m. this afternoon down in the southeastern corner of Oregon. Here's a storm action overnight becoming more widespread and moving north. So this is potentially a thunderstorm cluster right in the heart of Sun River and Bend and Redmond and Sisters, of course, vacation land in Central Oregon. And this would be at, let's see here, this would be like 11 o'clock tonight. These storms, most models bring them up near to the east flank of the Cascades and move them north overnight. Here's another cluster of storms in southeastern Oregon. Again, this is overnight tonight. Getting into early, this is now 5 a.m. Friday morning, July 4th. Look at all the action potentially moving up into the blues, moving up toward Pendleton. Thunderstorm action still in central Oregon and moving north along the east flank of the Cascades. Now, this is interesting, and I mentioned this on KGW TV this morning. When we get these storms that migrate along the Cascades, you have to realize there's always a chance that something is going to get over the crest, bounce down the west slope of the Cascades, and spill into the valley. And that's what this, but not all models show this, but this particular model is. This is tomorrow morning, July 4th. There's a shower from a weakening storm right around Salem. There's some action moving through the gorge tomorrow morning. There's still that storm now out around McMinnville, maybe even some showers moving up into Cowlitz County. Here's this action at, this will be 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Rain in the gorge, rain moving up over Pendleton, up into Washington. A new round of storms in central and eastern Oregon. I will tell you, this model has the most widespread rain of any of them. but certainly we'll consider this to be a possibility. And where we have cloudiness, if this is correct, these rain shower areas, we would have clouds over the valley in the morning. Maybe not solid, but potentially mostly cloudy skies on your Friday morning in the Willamette Valley. And then I'll just play this into the evening hours. Still some rain showers being picked up in the gorge, another cluster of storms moving north of Burns. And then by the time we roll into Saturday, here we are, it's all clear, or at least dry, with some showers lingering up in far eastern Washington, and those will be moving out during the day Saturday. There they go. So that's kind of what we're keeping an eye on. And so I don't want you to be surprised if you wake up Friday morning, it's kind of cloudy. Don't want you to be surprised if you wake up Friday morning, hey, there's a little shower that's either past or is where you are from the storms that are primarily going to be near and east of the Cascades. Okay. Now let's talk. And then, so the reason for what I just showed you, there's a weak low that is off the coast of Southwest Oregon. And that's going to be triggering that action today, triggering the action tomorrow, Friday. But by Saturday, there's more firm ridging in place. That low is gone, and the forecast goes all dry Saturday and all dry Sunday. Now, here is this afternoon on this Thursday. Notice this shows temperatures primarily in the 70s. Maybe Salem hits 80. Salem hit 81 yesterday, while PDX on Wednesday was 77. But primarily, we're thinking shy of 80 up and down I-5. We're thinking 80s, but primarily shy of 90 from Pendleton up into the Columbia Basin. This shows 79, 80 in the Dalles, about 80 in Central Oregon. So really comfortable stuff. That's today. Let's just fast forward to tomorrow, July 4th. This is 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Again, temperatures primarily only in the 70s up and down I-5. In fact, this shows 70 in Kelso Longview, 72 or so up around Seattle, 60-degree temperatures at the coast, and only low 80s out in the Columbia Basin, and only mid-70s in Central Oregon. There's some temperatures in the upper 70s down in southwestern Oregon. So really comfortable today, really comfortable July 4th. Now, Saturday is the first day that, well, we're starting to build pressure heights, ridging. The rain chance is gone. We get full sun, and we start to warm up a little bit. So the question Saturday is, will we start to see some 80-degree temperatures in the Willamette Valley? This shows 80-degree numbers returning around Salem. This is Saturday. It's probably true. Shows Portland holding in the upper 70s, maybe either upper 70s to 80 or 81, but still really comfortable up and down I-5. And only about 90, which is not bad for you folks out in the Columbia Basin up into parts of Washington. And only mid-80s in the Dalles, not bad at all. 86 down in southwestern Oregon. So really comfortable Thursday today, really comfortable Friday, July 4th. A tad warmer, but still really comfortable on Saturday. Now let's go to the finale of the holiday weekend. Here's Sunday. Now we're definitely up into the 80s, right? Seattle's going to be close to 80. Portland, low to mid 80s, 84, 85 down through Salem into Eugene. Some 90-degree temps returning down in southwestern and south central Oregon. We're back up in the 90s in the Columbia Basin. Nothing extreme here locally, but certainly it's like, hey, it's warm. But still, especially if you're boating on Sunday, really nice weather. And then we go into Monday. This is the first day where we think we could get 90-degree heat returning to parts of the Willamette Valley, which is what this shows. Right around 90 or not quite that warm, up and down I-5, mid-90s in Seattle, 100, 102. Now we're heating back up in the basin area. This is Monday, and then I think this is going to play me through Tuesday afternoon. Yeah, and then we'll stop it. And then whatever we end up with Monday, statewide, Tuesday will be hotter. So now we've got 90s up and down much of the I-5 corridor on Tuesday, and I think maybe even some mid-90s. This could be not warm enough. But look at the numbers out in the basin. They were like 102 on Monday. Here's next Tuesday, 106, 108, 107. So if that's the case, there probably would be a heat advisory issued for this area. Pendleton up into the Columbia Basin, maybe for the Dalles. It shows the Dalles at 92. So that's kind of the overall patterns that we're looking at. Here is the main upper flow pattern, 18,000 feet, 500 millibars that I like to show you. We'll look at extended wise. So right in here is that disturbance are low off the coast this afternoon on this Thursday. It's triggering the thunderstorms that are coming to southern Oregon later today, helping keep all of us in a cooler weather pattern. Similar situation on Friday. But by Saturday, see how that cool trough, the blue color, they're gone. Now we've got another upper level low, but it's really weak and cut off and not really expected to do anything for us locally on Saturday into Sunday as we start to warm up. This is not going to show you intense ridging. In fact, the models are not agreeing right now. This is Tuesday of next week, a day that I think we're up into the 90s. So what am I looking at? Here's a 597 high. Remember I showed you the July outlook and we talked about above normal temperatures and we talked about the 30-day anomaly where the heat dome for July would most often sit? Well, the models projected that high most often for July right here over the four corners, Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, Colorado. And that's right where it is Tuesday of next week. So that's interesting. Maybe the models have a good handle on this, right? Now, see, this has a weak cutoff low, which would give us a southwesterly flow, help potentially trigger some more thunderstorm activity in southern and eastern Oregon. So we'll watch that. This is Tuesday of next week. And if this low is here, it might help hold temperatures down a little bit. Other models don't show this low, and they show ridging from this high extending to the coast. And if that's the case, we could have maybe 3 solid days of being well up into the 90s next week. So ultimately, that's not conclusive. This is the European model. Because it's not conclusive, let's look at another scenario. This is the Canadian model. This is Sunday of this weekend. I'm just going to play it now. I'm interested into next Tuesday, so let's go ahead and play it. This does show next Tuesday a weak upper level low off the coast, the 597 high over the four corners. That's identical to what the European was showing. Shows ridging up into Canada with hot weather in Idaho and Montana and parts of eastern Washington especially. So again, we'll have to wait and see what happens with this low. If it sits there, is it strong enough to have impact or not? That will dictate if we get up into the 90s for a number of days next week or not. Okay. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. Let's go ahead and get you to my 7-day forecast. This is courtesy of Hazeldale Tire Pros in Clark County off the I-5 side in Vancouver. So 77 this afternoon in Portland, beautiful weather. Independence Day, 75. Remember, there could be some cloud cover tomorrow morning and maybe even a shower. I'm going to write that into the forecast. Remember, we saw the storms overnight tonight in the Cascades. Maybe something spills into the valley. Otherwise, all dry. Saturday, still comfortable, 79 or 80 at most. And then comfortable just into the 80s on Sunday. And then right now, I've got 89, maybe 90 on Monday, 94 Tuesday, still in the 90s on Wednesday. That will depend on that low that we just saw. And real quick, it is the holiday weekend. Let me backtrack and go around the horn for you. So let's see what Medford's temperatures are for the holiday weekend. 87 today, 83 tomorrow, a little cooler, and then back up to 93 on Sunday. There's some 101 readings getting into next week with that return of hotter weather. So that kind of backs up what we've been talking about. Here's Bend. There's that thunderstorm chance overnight tonight and tomorrow, and then the dry weekend. 83 today, 90 by Monday. Okay, that goes with what we talked about. Here's Pendleton. Cloudiness on Independence Day from storms advancing near the area. Only 80. And then there's the heat next week. 99 Tuesday, 101 Wednesday. So far, everything is cooking and jiving, right? Here's Seattle. 73 this afternoon. 75 Independence Day. Pretty similar to Portland. Really nice weather. 70s through Sunday. Just incredibly, incredibly comfortable weather. I hope you can get outside and enjoy. Salem's going to be similar. 80 Saturday, 84 Sunday. There's some 90s next Tuesday and Wednesday. Okay. All right. North Bend, what we got? Right about 60 today, tomorrow. Dry weather, mid-60s over the weekend. Pretty nice weather. And let's check Astoria. 64 today. Decreasing clouds today. You folks didn't get much sun yesterday. This is Seaside's forecast, actually. And then mid-60s this weekend. Okay. Well, I'm meteorologist Rod Hill. I thank you for watching. Again, my weather site that I use, I own and operate. This is portlandweather.com. I hope you'll bookmark it. I also have an app. You can search Portland Weather. It will come up Portland Weather LLC or have my logo on it. But for now, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. You'll be notified when I post. It helps me out. And I thank you. Have a good July 4th.